Thank you very much for stopping by the Gordon Miller Show on the YouTube channel. This is the Gordon Miller Podcast. I am Gordon Miller, and today I wanted to talk to you individuals about retirement. Now, retirement, there should be a limit to how long a person should work. Now, as you know, there are some individuals that can't retire and they have to work and they're in their 70s, perhaps even 80 years old, working. Now, that would be downright bad, and really, it's just not fair. Now, life is not fair, of course, but you think about how a worker has put in years upon years of work to a company, dedicated themselves to a company to work there to maintain a living. You know, they do everything they can to make the company better, and we all know that there's other employees that just don't work as hard. Now, for example, like a corporate employee or a CEO, they never really pretty much have to worry about retirement. I mean, of course, they have to focus on it, and that's one of the things that they have to do. Of course, I understand. However, if there's an individual that just is not the most studious, but they have to maintain a living, they don't have that high-end paying job like somebody that works in the corporate sector or the CEO, and really, how much do they get paid for what they actually do? You think about how crazy it is. Now, I'm not talking about the CEOs that start their own company and operator owner, but these CEOs that go from a place of or a company to another company without even have to even step foot in the working place or a factory. They never even know what's going on. They don't even know anybody. They're supposed to be known, but they don't have to know anybody. Now, I don't know if you ever seen Undercover Boss. Now, I think some of the show, they had to have an undercover camera, I believe, in order for that to work. But, it's true. A lot of those bosses, they couldn't even do the jobs like the regular employees. And here they're the boss or the CEO is making millions, and perhaps even billions of dollars. Now, there's not a lot of CEOs that make billions of dollars, but millions of dollars they do. If you look at Jeff Bezos, well, I would say he earns that money, even though he makes lots and lots of money. He's almost a trillionaire. I mean, Amazon itself is almost $1 trillion company. Amazon makes money, a lot of cash, a lot of revenue. And that is a tricky situation. When you start your own company, I don't think there should be a limit on what a CEO makes if they start the company. But there definitely needs to be a limit on if they are just start from going from company to company, and they can retire or quit their company, and they have another CEO job right there waiting because they're on the board of directors or something like that. It just seems a little counterintuitive too, from a standpoint. Well, it's actually not counterintuitive, but it's counterintuitive. Okay, I'll just scratch that. Counterintuitive, I'll take that off. I'll retract that statement. But I won't retract this statement that retirees, and not to mention, a lot of these individuals have to go back to work. They're in their 70s, and it's hard. It's hard on their bodies. The human body is not meant to work. That's my opinion. That's one of the reasons why we just grow old, is the fact our bodies wear out all the time. They wear out. They deteriorate because of work. Work is a wicked thing, but we have to do it. You may think, well, you just sound lazy and you want a handout and you're entitled. No, absolutely not. Really? Do we really want 70-year-olds working still? For instance, what if you order something from a company and there's a bunch of individuals that are past 75 and they can only move so fast and they can't, you know, this is where younger people need to come up into play. And I'd say that the younger people nowadays, the younger generation just doesn't seem to want to work. A lot of the individuals, a lot of the younger generation now, back when I was young, we worked hard. We had to work hard in order to do, you know, but it just seems like nowadays, and I'm sure there's a lot of good young people out there that are good workers. I'm not saying that. It just seems to be a little bit more every generation that passes. It just seems like less and less people want to work, and unfortunately, you're just going to have to work. I mean, you don't have to work, but the consequences of that. And that's one of the reasons why I work. I don't work for this pure joy of it. I work to live. I don't live to work. Now, it's kind of ironic that these CEOs, they really like to work. Well, of course they like to work when they make millions, when they don't even, I'm talking about the CEOs that don't even start their company. The CEOs that just go from company to company. Of course they like to work when they make millions of dollars. And technically, they don't even really work. What do they really do all day, a corporate employee or CEO or vice president? What do they actually do all day? Besides sitting in meetings and making other people decide to make sure that the company is being ran. There's 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, hundreds of people underneath them that are working. And the CEO's out there playing golf. Yeah, the CEOs, I don't understand. These CEOs, they're lazy, they're incompetent. Not all of them. I'm not talking about the ones that started their own company. There's a lot of good, hardworking CEOs out there. But a lot of the ones that just move from company to company that had nothing to do with the company, and all of a sudden they go to the company and they become CEOs for whatever reason, because they don't really have qualifications. They just have maybe a college degree, and they just got fortunate, and they just, like, it's like this. Of course, these individuals that start their own company need to make money. They can make as much they want, but it's not fair just to have these individuals didn't start their company, just go from company to company. And they got hired on because they were CEOs in another field. And you look at all these. Could the CEO do the job of the highest paid workers? Absolutely not. More than likely not. Maybe they could, but highly doubt it. And that's something as a society, I wish people would understand that in order to help the older people not have to work so late in their life, because life is short and you got to enjoy it, and this is the only life you have. And what do you do in this life? All you do is work, work, and work, or at least the ones that have to. I've always said that the ones at the bottom of the totem pole have more accountability. These CEOs, they get a bailout. They get bailout money. Now, how is that right? The CEOs get bailout money? No, that's not right at all. That has to stop. That has to change. Now, even if they started their own company, that's where I draw the line. Where I say, well, even if you did start the company, there should be no such thing as a bailout, period. There should be no such thing as a bailout for CEOs. It's absolutely ridiculous. And you may think, well, that's just the way it is. Why? Why does it have to be the way it is? Now, there's some things I'd say, okay, we can't cross the line, and it's not crossing the line if you say that there shouldn't be bailout money. How is that crossing the line if I say there should be no bailout money? There should be no bailout money. In fact, that's crossing the line that is crossing the line when they don't, or when they do take the bailout, when they have the bailout money. The buyouts, these CEO buyouts, it's terrible. That's crossing the line, and that is being way extreme, and that is not good. Why does this continue to happen? It's because the money in this world that makes the world go around. And it really is. I made a podcast. I just uploaded a podcast recently on AI about it makes the world go around. AI makes the world go around, but what before the AI? The cash, the revenue, and of course you need the revenue. Folks, 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 individuals. I'm just trying to tell you and try to teach you something that, look, it's about, common sense. Why does this continue to happen? The bailouts are absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy how these bailouts are just absolutely crazy. But not to mention, a lot of times corporate employees and CEOs, they don't want to spend nothing for the company. They don't want to make the company good. They want to spend the least amount of money on products and making sure that the company does good. The least amount of money, they spend more money on making sure that their image is good when it really isn't. That has become the American way, and that has to stop. Friends, I'm just trying to give you advice. And it's, please understand that I know nothing's going to get done. I know. There'll be continue to have bailouts and money and the new CEOs that take over the company from company, they go to another company and they get the same bailout if it goes underneath. Is that really fair? Especially to those people that have to make a living, that make, they don't make as much and they're doing the work. These individuals that can't retire, they're doing the hardest work. The harder you work, the less you get paid. No, I'm really serious. It seems like that way it is in this world. It just seems like there's just, and there's obviously exceptions. There's hardworking doctors and lawyers and things like that make good money, but but to those doctors, they don't make as much as the CEO of the hospital. Think about that. Let that set in. Let that set in. Folks, I'm just trying to help you to understand that. It's one of those things where I just want you to realize that the CEOs are really hurting the country and really hurt. I mean, you go to other parts of the countries and other countries in the world, and perhaps there is, same thing, but in America it's really bad, and the retirees are hurting because the CEO's outrageous salary. That's in my opinion. The CEOs want that. The CEOs don't care about their company, or they don't care about their employees. They say they care about the company, but it's only because they want to make the money. They want to make the money, and of course you have to make the money. But you know what? And then they're just, a lot of these CEOs that come over, it's crazy. Absolutely mind-boggling to think that these CEOs can get bailout monies. And look, it's going to go one ear and out the other, and no one's going to ever do anything about it. It's going to continue to be that way. But why? Why? Why does that have to be that way? I tell you why, because the money makes the world go around, and I just don't understand it. I mean, I do understand, but it's like one of those, it's a figure of speech. I don't understand, but I do understand because it's pathetic. It's just absolutely crazy how these individuals have to keep on working to 75, 80 years old because they don't have the CEO's salary. Now, if they actually would, if they wanted to make it right, pay them the money, not these CEOs. You see, it's one of those things I really wanted to share with you folks. And like I say, if you're up there in age and you're still working, hang in there. I know it's easy for me to say, but just look at it this way. Well, I don't really want to say. And what can you say? What can you say to these individuals that make millions and millions and millions of dollars, hand over fist, and they get money all the time? They don't have to even do anything. They just get money, and they're invested in other companies through being part of the stock, the shareholders. They're shareholders in other companies and they're making money. I just don't understand it. It's one of those things where it's frustrating. It's truly frustrating, but what can be done? Anyway, this has been the Gordon Miller Podcast. Hey, hang in there. Thank you very much for listening to the Gordon Miller Podcast on the Gordon Miller Show YouTube channel. All right. Now, if you want to like, share, subscribe, or comment, that's all up to you guys. Thank you very much. When you want the best podcast, tune in to the Gordon Miller Podcast for the best podcast in the universe, the Gordon Miller Podcast.